Now, I'm a lover of words. I like to accumulate here and there some archaic terms, some, complex sounding words because they're fun and they're interesting. But when it comes to reading, particularly like, let's say, books or newspaper articles, recipes, it can sometimes be a little bit annoying when the words are so complicated that it's hard to make sense of the message. And I think this is particularly noticeable for me when you're reading emails. If you get a lot of emails from a lot of different people, it's amazing how refreshing it is to get an email that is clear, succinct, and to the point, right? Now, the last survey into Australian literacy found that as much as 44% of Australians struggle with everyday literacy, such as reading a train schedule, writing a letter, following a recipe. So, that's a huge chunk. That's almost half of the population. And if we're using complicated words, particularly in arenas where the message needs to be received quickly and easily, then we're doing them a disservice. Cathy Basterfield is one of the people trying to address this problem. She is a speech pathologist and the force behind Access Easy English. And I've got Cathy on the line. Hi, Cathy. How are you going?
I'm good. Hi, Emma.
Hi, nice to have you here. So those stats that I quoted of themselves about literacy are pretty alarming. Why is it such a widespread problem in a country as, let's say, modern and with I would say, a focus on education as Australia?
Yeah. Look, there could be, there's lots and lots of reasons why the literacy is as it is, and it's as much as, yes, there's a group of people with a disability who may have difficulties, but it's lots of people who've got breaks in their education, people who actually have English as a second language, and where you just mentioned 44%, now it goes up to 54% of people struggle with their literacy. But the other part is that so much of what gets written is at a corporate level. It uses words that you and I wouldn't use sitting around the dinner table. And so they're foreign to us. And much of what gets written by people for the public domain have got these university level degrees and think that everyone else reads and writes like them because that's their peer group. And they don't realise that in the day-to-day that we actually don't talk like that and we don't read like that.
Yeah, absolutely, Cathy. And this is something that I've encountered. I come from a non-English speaking background, and my mum in
Right.
particular, she is a beautiful, talented woman with a wealth of experience. But one thing that she doesn't do
Mm.
well is speak or read English. And,
Yep.
you know, there's a tendency for people when they're speaking to someone for whom English is not their first language to, and I use inverted commas here, to dumb it down, to speak really
Yes.
slowly. But in actual fact, what I think they need to do is simplify the words that they're using. And you hit on a great point, Cathy. If you are a person who is very educated and grew up in a very articulate home with lots of other university
Mm.
educated people, you may never have turned your mind to ways that can be done. Any
Yep.
tips there, particularly those of us who might have in-laws or friends or parents of friends who are from another country for whom English is a second, third, maybe fourth or fifth language? How
Yeah.
can we break that barrier without coming across as patronising?
And I think that that's a really important thing is that we're not trying to patronise these people. It's about saying information that's coming out is critical. And I keep thinking about emergency situations and like the COVID pandemic is another really good example
Yes.
of the language that comes out is often language, it's about thinking and stopping going, actually, do we actually know what the word vaccination means? Like thinking
Yes.
about COVID. Would injection work? Well, yeah, injection might work for more people. The vaccination is like your medical word. Injection, that's sort of like your educated, top of the
Yep.
line word.
Yep.
But what about saying needle?
Yes.
Or, when we have our flu shots,
Yep.
why can't we go back to this sort of language? And so it's about really stopping and thinking, what is it that this person needs to help them understand not so much the complex stuff, but let's us think about what are the words that we've learned as part of our learning,
Yes.
and go, no, that's not what we use on an everyday basis. And I think it's really important to stop and go, no, this is not saying someone is dumb or we're dumbing it down. What we're doing is simplifying it so that every reading is not a I keep on saying that reading should not be a test,
Yes.
as an adult. You're reading, I mean, we do a lot of stuff that's for the public domain. It should not be a test of your reading to be understanding something about say, information coming about a bushfire, or knowing about there's an art show on, or reading about the fact that, there's some great event that's going that maybe you'd like to go to. If you're having difficulty reading, your motivation to even try and work out what to do is even lower. And this is where often it gets really caught up too. When you think about it, you put yourself in an emergency environment. I don't know what you were like up in Canberra many years ago, but you try and read something when you're in high stress. So think about, the bushfires coming in. Think about, the situations like, COVID was a great example that affected the whole community. There was language like PPE coming out.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I had no idea what PPE was.
No, absolutely. And I think about...
I've never worked in a hospital.
No, and I think about, people like my parents for whom English was second or third language. PPE means nothing to them, nothing at all, whereas something maybe like protection or, a word that is a bit more simple would...
Or wear a mask.
Yeah, even better. See, you've done it even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again...
And so it's about just making sure that we're actually stating what it is that we want people to do. So that's part of what we do with Easy English, is rather than writing something and then you trying to work out what it means and therefore what should I do, what is it that you need me to do here?
Yeah.
So here are the positives and the negatives. What are the actions that I can take? I can do this thing here, and it's very clearly set out, or else I can do this thing here, particularly when it's around that public health and emergency information, which we do. And that's where I get really frustrated. So, because that's the sort of stuff that should be out there. When you look at what the government policy currently that actually says, stay home when you're sick for COVID. So we've actually, again, so in 2020, we did a whole lot of pro bono work around Easy English for COVID. And we've just restarted again. We've just put up one, but there's about 4 ready to go up today about what are the current symptoms? What is the current advice to do? What should you be doing? And there's another piece we've done with Knox City Council down here in Victoria, and it's around how to plan for hot days. What should you do? What are the signs that you're actually in heat stress?
Yeah.
What are the signs that you might be more at risk? What should you do? So it's talking about not just drink water, but how much water.
Yes.
An adult needs to drink this much water. It's this many bottles of water. What do you do for your baby on a really hot day? I don't know. It's about drilling it down to what people really need to do as an actionable task that keeps them safe.
And I think in those particular circumstances, a great example there, the term stay hydrated may not mean anything to a lot of people, but most people, even if I think about my rudimentary, French studies and whatever, I can understand something like drink water. Yep. Keep it simple.
But now, how much water?
Yeah, true. Sorry.
Because what you drink versus, what is the recommended amount, and then putting it into a context that people understand. A water bottle, or like a soft drink bottle sort of size. Drink 2 of this across your day.
Yes.
That's how much you should be having. It's giving people some guidance beyond just drink some water.
An excellent point there.
I know with my elderly grandparents were the same thing. It was like, drink some water. Oh, I've had 2 cups of tea today. No.
Yeah.
Drink some more. Drink, how much more?
Get that drink bottle out. And Cathy, you've touched on a really good point as well. It's not just the language that we use. It's assessing what the meaning of what we're trying to convey is, so that we ensure that the language used is actually giving all the information required. But that's all we have time for. Cathy, if people want more information about Access Early English, where can they find you?
At Access Easy English.
Oh, easy, sorry.
That's right, that's okay, that's fine. Yeah, just jump on our website, and there's lots of examples up there that if they're up there, they're actually on public domain websites. People want you to be using them, or else chat to me, give me a call, and we can talk about what you're trying to communicate to your public, and we can certainly work with you to get something that's meaningful for people as well.
Amazing. Clear communication, so important. Cathy, thanks for your time.
Absolutely, great. Thanks very much, Emma.
Cathy Basterfield there from Access Easy English. Look that one up. And right now in the studio with me, I have the wonderful, the fantastic